Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're doing okay. Gonna read through a good portion of this article. There is a link in the description, and this is in regards to a current trial. Given that it's current and actively it's in the courts right now, there almost certainly will be updates coming out on a daily basis. I'll keep an eye on the case as best I can, and I may or may not provide updates. Perhaps we'll wait until a conclusion has been made, and then we'll look at the details for a second time. But this is in regards to a tragic situation which occurred in September 2020 in Los Angeles, and a multimillionaire socialite, Rebecca Grossman. Perhaps you're aware of her, perhaps you're not. I'm not. But she's a socialite, so I believe that means that she has some level of celebrity status, perhaps mostly known for being rich. She killed two boys, brothers, an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. She killed them during a street race. And we will look through the details, and I'm going to provide a trigger warning. There are a lot of details that we're going to look through. It's going to be quite heartbreaking. We're going to hear about this tragedy of two children killed because this woman, who's currently 58, I believe she would have been 56 back in September 2020, 56, 57, I guess. She was at that age, 56, 57, 58, she was having a street race. What a fucking insane, C word. I apologies, not really apologies. I used the C word, but I'm refraining from stating it explicitly, but, kind of using it anyway. I mean, that's the word, the appropriate word for me. What an insane fucking C word. Doing a street race at that age. Fucking insanity. She faces up to 34 years in prison if she's found guilty. And the charges that she faces include murder, as well as vehicular manslaughter and hit and run charges. 34 years, not enough. She's taken the life of two children. 34 years, how can that be any justification? That's the maximum that she'll get. There may be some question mark in regards to privilege. I mean, I'm going to mention a term which I don't largely believe in and I don't like, but white privilege. Some of you guys are going to perhaps comment about white privilege and point to this as being a good example of white privilege. I would suggest it's not so much white privilege. If there is any privilege at play, I would suggest that it's wealth privilege at play would be my suggestion. And why are we thinking that? Well, we're thinking that because the trial has taken a long time to get to this point. There's been a lot of delays. The judge has apologized for those delays, but there's been I think the article is suggesting give or take half a dozen delays. And during that period of time, the accused, Rebecca Grossman, has been living in her extremely well-to-do property. So, I don't want to show my jealousy too much, but we're going to have a look at her property. It's kind of nice. A $9.5 million mansion in Hidden Hills, California, next to Lori Loughlin. It's not a bad little pad. I mean, that's where she lives. That's where she has continued to live, even after having killed two boys. There was bail, and she was able to post bail. I believe it's was $2 million. Here are the boys. Mark and Jacob Iskander. Hopefully my pronunciation is correct. Iskander, 11 and 8. Mark 11, Jacob 8. And we're going to read through the details. So again, I'm going to provide a trigger warning. There are details in regards to the accident. Here is the bitch concerned. This fucking lunatic, maniac, child murderer child killer, alleged. She's going through a trial at the moment. But I mean, it's pointless saying alleged. It was her vehicle, this Mercedes, which struck the two boys, and the two boys died. So, I mean, do I need to say alleged? She's responsible for the death of those two boys. So we're going to read through the details a little bit more thoroughly at this point. And there is, again, a link in the description if you'd rather go through that in your own good time. A heartbroken mother wept on the stand as she tearfully described how she desperately tried to wave down this scumbag lunatic, Rebecca Grossman, just seconds before the socialite ran over her two children, her two boys, with her Mercedes during an alleged street race. Nancy Iskander, again, I hope my pronunciation is correct, apologies if it isn't. Nancy Iskander appeared in Los Angeles Superior Court on Monday to testify in the preliminary hearing for the case, nearly 2 years after the hit-and-run crash killed two of her sons, Mark, 11 years of age, and Jacob, 8 years of age. Here's a quote from the mother, who's naturally completely broken-hearted. "I still see it every night. It haunts me every night." The hearing is in the Van Nuys courtroom, and it's to determine whether or not this scumbag lunatic, Rebecca Grossman, should be brought to trial for the charges. Several witnesses will testify with a decision to be made. I believe that decision's made. The trial is going ahead, as far as I understand. Hopefully I don't have that incorrect, but I believe this initial hearing was such that it was agreed that the hearing would go ahead, the trial would go ahead rather, and I believe that is what is happening right now. The socialite, the scumbag, is currently charged with 2 counts of murder and faces a maximum sentence of 34 years to life in prison if convicted. Okay, so my apologies, I thought it was just a maximum of 34 years, but I'm wrong. 34 years to life in prison. Okay, so that's more like it. That's more like it. So I think they're saying a minimum of 34 years and a maximum of life. So that's good. Let's go for the life. Let's go for the life. And I'm going to comment here. We can talk about white privilege. We can talk about wealth privilege. But I could also throw this in there as well. Female privilege. Let me be crass. I like being crass. Maybe you don't like me being crass, but I'm going to be anyway. Apologies. Please don't unsubscribe. But I like to say this, and it is offensive. Brace yourself. Vagina bearer privilege. Why do I say it in that term? Vagina bearer privilege. I say it in those terms because why the fuck should women get easier, lighter sentences than men? I mean, this being a good example, why does the fact that this woman is a woman, that she bears a vagina, what influence does that have in enabling her to have a lighter sentence than she would should she not be a vagina bearer? Now, of course, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. She hasn't been sentenced yet. She hasn't even been found guilty yet. But I just comment that because if we are going to talk about privilege, then I think that's worthwhile in throwing in there. I'm seeing a lot of sentences of women which are lighter than they would be if it were a man. Why? Because they bear a vagina. And that annoys me. It annoys me because... It doesn't annoy me because I'm worried about myself. No, I'm not going to be arrested or face charges for murder. It's never going to happen in my lifetime. Not unless the zombie apocalypse happens, and that's not going to be for a couple of years yet. But it just annoys me because it's a lack of justice. It's a lack of justice within the justice system. Hopefully you're still listening and haven't unsubbed, hopefully. So let's carry on. This scumbag, Socialite, is accused of running over and killing 2 young brothers while they were in a crosswalk at a Westlake Village intersection in September 2020. So I believe that is in Los Angeles. Westlake Village intersection. The boy's mother broke down in tears on the stand as she testified that on the day of the crash, she was walking with the two boys as well as their 5-year-old brother. They were walking in the crosswalk when the mother heard loud engines, and she suddenly saw two SUVs hurtling towards them. Here's a quote from the mother. I heard the engines from two SUVs coming at us at insane speeds. The mother frantically tried to get the driver's attentions by waving at them before pushing her 5-year-old son out of the way. But neither the Socialite's SUV, Mercedes-Benz, nor the other street racer, or rather alleged street racer, Scott Erickson, who was in a black SUV, neither of them stopped. So the mother pushed her 5-year-old son out of the way, but she wasn't able to reach Mark and Jacob, her 11 and 8-year-old boys. And here's a quote from the mother. I heard a really loud noise. I looked back and I either felt or saw the other car speeding also. I realized something had happened to Mark and Jacob. The mother was horrified to find Jacob lying in the roadway as if he was sleeping, and her other son Mark had been on the hood of this scumbag Socialite's car, which kept going after the crash. Hit and run charges. Oh my god, I mean, just like, what is that going to do to a mother's brain? What is that going to do to witness that? To witness that, it's not singular. I mean, it's so much that she must have witnessed in that moment, in those moments. She just saw her 8-year-old boy dead on the ground, and her 11-year-old boy hit by a Mercedes SUV driving racing at insane speeds. The boy's still on the hood of the vehicle as the vehicle speeds away. I mean, what the fuck is that going to do to someone's brain? That is just going to, I mean, the sheer, is panic the right word? I don't know what it would do. It would just be the sheer horror of having witnessed that. That's just going to break a person's psyche just in an instant, I would have thought. The scumbag, Socialite, Rebecca Grossman, has pleaded not guilty to all the charges. What the fuck are you on about? I'm going to mention the privilege again. I'm going to mention wealth privilege. I'm going to mention female privilege. I don't so much like mentioning white privilege. I know some of you guys do. I'm going to mention wealth privilege. I'm going to mention female privilege. How the fuck can she plead not guilty? I mean, like, it's her car. She was in it. It killed two boys. That you can see the car. The mother saw her son, 11 years of age, presumably dead or dying, being sped away on the hood of your fucking car. How the fuck can you have the gall to plead not guilty? I don't understand. I mean, privilege. I'm presuming that it's wealth privilege, that she has lawyers that are great, that know how to get people off serious charges, and, you know, perhaps a part of that is making out what a wonderful woman she is, or what a caring person she is. Back to the article. Despite the severity of the crime she's accused of, she's been free on bail since being charged a mere 2 days after the tragedy. There was a $2 million bail, which she paid. There were also a lot of slow pace of court proceedings, several hearings. She didn't bother to turn up. And that has led to some level of protesters that are arguing in regards to wealth, privilege, and connections having kept her out of jail. Again, we've got the two boys, Mark and Jacob. Mark on the left, I believe, and Jacob on the right. One was declared dead at the scene, while the other died in hospital. So I guess that's... I'm not sure which. Two petitions claiming to have a combined total of more than 50,000 signatures have been circulating, calling for this psychopathic socialite Rebecca Grossman to be locked up. Justice must be served, regardless of this scumbag's financial means, status, privilege, and connections. We demand that this scumbag is prosecuted and sentenced to the fullest extent of the law, and that she face serious consequences for her actions that took away the lives of both Mark and Jacob. Another petition claimed, "Let's push to spread awareness about this case and put Rebecca Grossman behind bars. Justice for Mark and Jacob Iskander." I mean, yeah, absolutely. These boys, they absolutely deserve justice. And they better get it. They better fucking get it. You guys have had... I'm not allowed to say certain things on YouTube. But in Los Angeles, I'll just leave it at that. I won't go down that road. One of the protesters who made the Mark and Jacob t-shirts bearing the words "Justice delayed is justice denied." And they're complaining that there's been too many delays in regards to this case. I agree. We want to see justice for these boys. So there are more details about the delays. I'll skip over that for now. But again, it does include the accused skipping several hearings. She wanted to spend some more time at a $9.5 million home. At this point, I'm going to remind you of the trigger warning. I'm going to read through this section here, and it's going to provide details in regards to the actual incident. I'll say accident, this car crash, which seemingly led to one of the boys dying instantly or at the scene, and the other at hospital. The Iskander brothers had been walking across a crosswalk with their parents and two siblings, Zachary and Violet, when they were struck. The parents told police that when they heard Grossman's white Mercedes approaching at speed, they reached out to protect all of their children, but they could only reach the closest, Zachary and Violet. Jacob and Mark were both hit by the Mercedes. Mark died at the scene, and Jacob a few hours later in the hospital. Mark was allegedly carried 100 foot on the hood of this scumbag's car before she braked, at which point he fell off the car and she ran him over again as she fled the scene. This is a sick CUNT, see you next Tuesday. How the fuck have they allowed her not to attend these hearings, not to face this trial sooner? How the fuck have they allowed her to have posted bail? I think it's $2 million bail it mentioned, and carry on living in a $9.5 million mansion, having killed two boys and fled the scene, running over the boy after having hit him. I applaud these protesters. They've got a good cause. This is a worthy cause for them to have addressed. Police claim that when the boys were hit by the car, this scumbag was driving over the 45 miles per hour speed limit and may have been racing with her friend and near neighbor, World Series winning pitcher Scott Erickson. So that's the other driver in this alleged street race. They were on their way to the same house party. Well, isn't that nice? The other guy, Scott Erickson, has been charged with reckless driving, but he has not been accused of any other offences connected with the brothers' deaths. So he's got off lucky. The scumbag was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter and DUI, drunk driving under the influence, after her front-end damaged car broke down a quarter mile from the crash site. She has not actually been charged with DUI. She lives in a $9.5 million house. It has 9 bedrooms, 12-bath mansion in nearby Hidden Hills, close to Lori Loughlin. So that's really that article there. I've gone through pretty much the most of it, but there is a link in the description. It's just terrible. I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but it's an interesting case. This is different to most of the cases that I've gone through, and it's expanding my knowledge. And if you're a regular listener, it's perhaps expanding your knowledge of the types of crimes that are occurring out there. It's just so insane. A fucking woman in her 50s being so reckless, so thoughtless, so selfish. Actually, why am I even surprised? Apologies. That was a bit of a joke, but taking the life of 2 boys just because she was thrill-seeking with her buddy, her well-to-do buddy, Scott Erickson, who seemingly is getting a pass. Why is he getting such a pass? That's a bit odd too. I mean, maybe the protest should also include him. Why is he getting such a pass? If he was a part of this, if it can be confirmed that it was indeed a street race, I would have thought he's culpable as well. I would have thought, but maybe this is wealth privilege coming to play. Maybe it's not just female privilege. Maybe there's some other type of privilege going on, but does seem to be wealth privilege and having the right connections that has allowed this woman to carry on living in her beautiful home despite having killed 2 beautiful boys. So I'm going to wrap things up here. Of course, full condolences to the family, to the parents, to the siblings. I'm going to applaud the protesters that have created more awareness around this case and around this subject. That's calling into question the potential for corruption, the potential for some kind of privilege, be it white privilege, wealth privilege, female privilege, whatever it happens to be, but influencing the circumstances such that this woman's been able to walk free up to this point, and let's hope that comes to an end suddenly. She's facing 34 years to life in prison. Let's go for life, but I mean, if she's found guilty, she's gonna face a very lengthy jail sentence. So I think that's likely justice served. I would not like to see her get the minimum. I would not like to see her get the opportunity for parole. She not only killed 2 boys, but she sped away from the scene. She only got, she stopped where she stopped because the car broke down. She ran over the boy that she had already struck, or one of the 2 boys that she had already struck. I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks, guys. Again, you know I've said, if you do listen this far, you are an absolute champion. Please give me your feedback. If you don't like my swearing, if you don't like me saying things like vagina bearer, tell me. I'll bear it in mind. Maybe I'll carry on saying those things. Maybe I won't. Give me some feedback. I love your comments. I really, really do. And hopefully the other guys do. I think I would like for you guys to, I don't know, I think there's room to be able to chat amongst yourselves, have some kind of conversation somehow. I don't know, but I'm kind of half thinking of along those lines how to encourage that. live streams, perhaps with open panels, and you guys would be more than welcome to come up at any time. If you guys are interested in that, live streams with open panels, let me know, because I would like to do live streams. I don't feel that I'm in the right position to commit to doing live streams regularly because I'm busy, because I'm still trying to get used to going through these articles in an efficient way. So I don't want to make too many commitments. But I think it would be great if you guys were to come up on panel and have a little chat to me, to each other. Wouldn't that be great? About these types of crimes, that would be wonderful. So if you guys are interested in that, give me some indication. Perhaps I'll do a poll or such. But if you guys are interested in that, then I'll probably be all over it. If I don't have to do the work, I can just bring you guys up and you can talk amongst yourselves about these crimes. That'll be great. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to wrap things up. Take care. I really, really appreciate your support. Even just the comments. I fucking love the comments. So they make me smile so much. They touch me. So please keep them coming.